Okay, whenever you're ready.
Good evening, listeners. I'm going to entitle tonight's podcast, Do You Know Who the Boss Is? Let me mention a couple instances that we probably all experienced. Have you ever been on a plane, train, or automobile where someone was up walking around bothering people and you're saying to yourself, why don't that idiot sit down and quit messing with other folks? Or have you been in a situation where you're in school, in a study hall, whether it be college or high school, and you're trying to study, and you got a clown over there making noise and bothering everybody, and you say, why can't he study? That's why he's failing. Or have you been in a church where you're trying to listen to a sermon and somebody's on their phone, constantly on their phone while the sermon is being preached, and you say, what is wrong with that idiot? And have you also been at a funeral where someone sitting next to you is disrespecting the funeral service and talking with someone about their exploits from the night before? Or have you been on a highway where a vehicle is wheeling in and out and goes past you like you're standing still? And you say, that guy's going to kill somebody. Well, I'm sure we've all experienced those things. But I got the inspiration for this podcast from a story I heard on TV about two boys, brothers. Let's call the oldest brother Jimmy and the youngest brother Bobby. The mother of the two boys sent them up to their bedrooms to clean up the room. At first, she heard some jostling around and some bumping around, and then some shouting, and then she heard some sobbing. The cry of her younger son, Bobby. She said, that's enough. Let me go up and find out what's going on. So she goes upstairs, and she sees Bobby lying on the floor, holding his stomach. And she said, what's wrong? And he said, Jimmy punched me in the stomach. And she looked at Jimmy and she said, Jimmy, why did you punch your brother in the stomach? And he said, he wouldn't clean up his room. And she looked around and she saw that the entire room was a mess. And she said, well, Jimmy, I noticed that your room and your area of the room is as messy as his. Why haven't you cleaned up your room? So let me tell you this so that you get it straight. I'm the boss. And I'm telling you to clean up your room. Don't you worry about Bobby, because I'm Bobby's boss too. And I'll take care of Bobby. So, the point of this is that we are not the boss. God is. So with respects to the first scenario, the plane, train, and automobile, all you have to do is make sure that you remain in your seat and that you don't walk around bothering people, and let God worry about the other person. With respects to your study hall, Just make sure that you study and graduate. And let God worry about the loafer. With respects to the church, make sure that you, even if you have to move, listen intently to the sermon so that you get something out of it. And let God take care of the non-listener. And with respects to the funeral, if you need to move, move. And go somewhere where you can respect and listen to the funeral service. And with respects to the speedster on the highway, you just make sure that you obey the speed limit and let God take care of the speedster. In short, we're not the boss. But listen, we just need to take care of what we're supposed to do and let God take care of the others because He's their boss also.
You say that.
Now, that's the point of the story. But just to end with a little humor, we have the same two brothers, Jimmy and Bobby. And the mother says, I'm going to cook you guys some pancakes. And they started arguing about whose pancake was going to be fixed first. And the mother said to Jimmy, well, Jimmy, you know, if Jesus were here, He would say, you have the first pancake. And Jimmy said, okay, Bobby, you be Jesus. I think you got that. Anyway, remember, we're not the boss. So, and good night.